Planet of the Apes, issue number 1. That's right, folks. The time has come. There was a huge merger between Disney and Fox, and with that, Disney got the license to a bunch of Fox-adjacent properties. Among them are Alien and Predator, comic books we have seen being published from Marvel recently. But now, Marvel has launched a new imprint. It's called 20th Century Studios because they are, I guess, apparently going to do more comic books based on Fox properties that they acquired. I will believe it when I see it. I personally don't think they are going to do much more aside from like the usual fare that we have been seeing. I just don't buy it. You know, I feel like we're going to see some more Alien and Predators and some more Planet of the Apes, but I don't see them doing a bunch of other ones, you know? Maybe something with The Shape of Water, maybe something, I don't know what else they own really. I don't see it though, but Planet of the Apes, it's here. Finally, it's coming. The first title in this new imprint, a book I was super excited for because I am a huge Apes fan. I do not get to talk about it nearly as much as I want to on this channel, just because there's other stuff to go on and other stuff I have to talk about, but here we go. It is the Planet of the Apes book. This is in the world timeline of the Rise, Dawn, and War storyline. It is also a direct connection to the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. That movie takes place like centuries into the future. This book opens up kind of in the present day. It is dealing with a lot of the themes of those earlier movies like Rise and War and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool to see. We open up in 2011. We are in San Francisco at the start of the outbreak. Now, this is a very huge part of the story, and it is very, like, virus-focused. And coming out of a pandemic, there are some things in here that are very radicalized versions of what we've seen happen. So it's 2011, as the start of the first movie was. We see that they are experimenting on chimps because they might hold the immunity to a virus. So they kind of like do this thing, they like test this idea for chimps, like we can cure Alzheimer's with like this thing. We're gonna test it on chimps. It doesn't really work, but it also activates a new disease that spreads around humanity, and they call it the simian flu, even though it has no real connection to chimps being like the leading cause of this. That is like what happens in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. We see that happen. This book opens up with like the end of that story. We also see the, what they call it, the Golden Gate Ape Uprising, which is a scene from the Planet of the Apes movie where Caesar leads a charge on the Golden Gate Bridge. We see that in the movie. It is referenced in this book, and then we just kind of like see what happens in the next few years of the world. This book starts in a bunch of different time periods. We go back to 2015. We are flying over the Atlantic Ocean. We see there's a bunch of like UN-based operatives in like uniforms there on like a cargo ship hauling a couple apes. There's a chimpanzee and orangutan, all of them scared out of their mind. There is a woman among their ranks. I don't know what her name is because they don't really drop it. You can kind of see sometimes when like there's a close-up on her uniform, the name says like Toron or something. It's hard to make out what it is. Tobin maybe. And she's like, look, I've been doing this a long time. I've seen a lot of bad stuff happen. I don't think we have to worry about these apes. They are not responsible for the fallout of what happened there. She was also connected to like the Highway of Hell incident, which is like a huge movement that happened earlier where there was apes being moved and boarded, and she was trying to protect these apes, and her unit was attacked by a terrorist group, which is like the extreme side of what we are doing here. The idea that this book is presenting, just to bury the lead a little bit, is that there are these groups of people on both sides of the argument of the simian flu. Some people think like they stand the chance to help us understand this disease that's killing us. They are not infected by it. We can use them and help ourselves figure out what that is. There's another people who are like, it's the goddamn simian flu. We gotta kill them. We're gonna become terrorists and kill those damn apes. Which, again, a radicalized version of something we could have seen happen in today's climate. I'm not going to say anything else on that matter. I'm just saying, like, this book coming out in a post-pandemic era, while it's a little on the nose, it does make enough sense where I'm like, okay, I see exactly what we're going for here. That doesn't mean I have to like it. It just means that's what we're doing. And because it was called The Highway to Hell, she's like, my dad used to love that album. I'm not going to listen to it anymore. We cut back to 2014 where we're at this like simian research center in Ghana. And we just see like apes are doing fine. Everyone's kind of doing okay there until the apes are attacked by these terrorists. Like there are these people actively wanting to wipe out what they think is killing them, which is the apes, which is like their disease. But of course we know that's not the case. So some of them are running away. It looks like the mother of a couple of chimps gets murdered until somebody else comes in to save the chimps because there are freedom fighters helping these chimps survive. And you're just like, this is a really cool book because not only is it establishing what's going to happen to humanity, as opposed to just being wiped out by itself, we're going to kill ourselves in a war for no reason, which is a very accurate thing to humanity's end. It also shows why the chimps are going to be hesitant to help from the humans. We also then cut back to 2013, and we see that this terrorist militia, do they have a name? I think they do. Let the act of purification remind the world of the extercitus viri, like they're bad guys. They're not terrorists, but they just downed a train that was housing these chimps, and now they're going to capture these people that were helping the chimps survive. And they're going to shoot them. They're going to line them up and shoot them and record a message like it's their manifesto. It is dark and deranged and terrifying. But we also see during this moment, as they're about to kill these people supporting the apes, they capture some weird footage on their phone. And we see an army of apes in some mechanized human clothing. This shot is amazing. Some of them are wearing gear. One of them's using a stop sign as a spear. They got like hammers that are made and stuff. And they're going to attack the terrorists. And I'm like, oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. We also then cut back to 2012, and we're in Florida. And this is a very timely scene. A young woman is there with, I believe it's her daughter or her sister. I'm going to say sister because the girl is pretty young. She's holding her sister in like this hospital room waiting to get help, and as she's sitting down just listening to like the cries of the people on the TV, you hear like, hey, some people are saying, this is all the result of the apes, we got to exterminate the apes. And then you have scientists wearing a mask while on screen are like, this is not a result of the apes. They are potentially the thing that is going to save us. We need them in order to survive. And as that is happening, we realize that this little girl, or this young woman, isn't going to be able to have her sister back. Her sister has succumbed to the disease, and she is listening to the news saying it's not the ape's fault. And her little sister was holding this chimpanzee plushie, and she holds it up, and that is when we realize that this young woman who is dealing with the loss of her sister is actually the adult woman that we see on the cargo ship in 2015 with the apes. So she asked them how they're doing. We do this all through sign language, and the apes are like, we are afraid. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to help. Do not be afraid of this. We're doing the right thing. But they're afraid. They know men aren't going to protect ape. Men are going to kill ape. Which, the sign language thing is like the thing that we started doing in the Rise movies. So this is a few years out from that. It's a little, I think it's before Dawn. Dawn came out in 2014, but I don't know if it was 2014 in the timeline. I don't really know. Maybe we're going to actually go to like Caesar's place. I'm not sure. This seems like a separate story happening in conjunction with that story that we know the movie to be. So one of the other soldiers is like, you're talking to the apes. That's stupid. They're animals. They don't understand. And she's like, if you can train a dog to sit or fetch a ball, it's like that, but they're smarter than dogs. Like, it's pretty obvious. And these guys just look at him with like resentment. Like, this guy is not going to save us. Maybe this girl's going to try, but she might not be able to. So the apes make a pact, like, together we're strong, which is like the thing that we see. The hand gestures we see apes protect apes, which is like the thing in Rise where Caesar's like showing Maurice like how we stay connected and everything, like that hand gesture. That is what they are doing. So these apes are like, we're going to have to down this plane. Oh yeah, baby. And that is where the first issue ends. And it is a great ride. I had an absolute blast with this book. It was incredibly fun, so poignant. This is a world I know a lot about, but I'm not like the top dog when it comes to like this like stuff. I just really like seeing this world and what it has to offer. This is like my era of Planet of the Apes that I grew up watching. I also know that David F. Walker was the writer on the previous installment that was at IDW, I believe. So having him come over to work on this book, I wonder if this is actually going to seriously line up with the things we are seeing in the new movie. Again, it's taken place in that world, so there might be some established things we're going to be seeing. I don't know. I just think this was incredibly well done. An incredibly well executed piece of story. I really enjoyed it. I think it holds up well. It's going to be a fun book to see where this goes, and I'll be covering all of it. I want to talk about Apes on this channel. If this is the start of that, let's freaking go. So, Planet of the Apes issue number 1, I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck. Ape protect ape.